Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first official episode of Health Unfiltered. I'm Madison Shaw, your host. I'm a registered dietitian and director of nutrition here at Infinity Sports Institute. And the goal behind creating this series was to provide a place where people can just come and get the most up-to-date and reliable health, nutrition, and fitness information without having to dig through the internet and find out what is really true and what isn't the hard way. So I figured, what better way to start off our first episode than with nutrition myths. So today I'm going to be sharing with you my 10 favorite and what I consider to be the biggest nutrition myths and why. So without further ado, let's kick it off. So the first one today is calories in versus calories out. And let me start out by saying that creating a calorie deficit, meaning that you're burning more than you're taking in, is definitely a key player when it comes to weight loss. But it's not the only thing that we need to pay attention to. And that's where I come in. With my clients, we try to figure out what else is holding them back from weight loss, fat loss, muscle gain, whatever their goals may be. And there can be a number of factors playing a role in weight gain or weight loss. Take hormone imbalances, for example, like hyper and hypothyroidism. Medication use like SSRIs and corticosteroids like prednisone, these can all have an effect on whether or not we're able to effectively lose or gain weight. You know, I love to focus more on sustainability and balance through nutrient-dense foods and fueling your body. And if you're strictly sticking to a calorie in versus calorie out mindset, you're often going to fall short in this department because a lot of the times those diet foods are marketed as low calorie, which can be great, but they're lacking in a lot of nutrients, which can cause a lot of other problems. So for the next one, number 2 is fat makes you fat. This idea streams back decades. Dietary fat is essential for the body and for a lot of functions. Lack of dietary fat has been linked to metabolic syndrome, increased insulin resistance, heart disease, and fat is great. Like I mentioned, it plays a key role in hormone function and satiety. And if you're one of my clients, you know that I always have you eating healthy fat in every meal, because what that's going to do is it's going to help keep you full to your next meal. And it's also going to help diminish that really steep spike in blood sugar, which will be a whole nother episode. Number 3 is small meals every 2 hours to lose weight. And I know that you've heard this one. How many times have you heard it? You need to eat every 2 hours to boost your metabolism. And this is a very in-the-box way of thinking. Research shows that regular eating patterns are more beneficial for health than having 2 small meals every day. And the reasoning that I don't like the 2 small meals, and there are different ways to do everything right. And for some people, it may work. Now, this now goes into deeper things, but say you have low blood sugar, maybe you do need to eat every 2 hours. But when it comes to just weight loss, eating every 2 hours actually gives us more of an opportunity to spike blood sugar, which keeps our insulin raised, which in turn puts us in a mode where we can't burn fat. So what I recommend to my clients is creating nutrient-dense meals with healthy fat, fiber, protein, and starchy carbs to not only keep you full for 3 to 4 hours, but to keep blood sugar steady so that we can lose weight and we put our body in fat burning mode. Number 4 is low fat and packaged diet foods are healthy alternatives to meals. These foods may be low in calories, but they're not really a healthy choice for food alternatives. And oftentimes these foods contain more sugar, salt, and additives, and than their regular fat counterparts. And that's because they need to make up for the lack of fat. So they need to add that flavor somewhere else. And that is going to be through sugar, and it's going to be through salt, and it's going to be through additives. When in reality, if we just had the full fat option, we'd probably stay fuller longer. We'd get more vitamins, we'd get more nutrients. So that is not always the best way to go. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I will get to them as I see them or after. Number 5, and this is kind of controversial, but it's skinny does not equal healthy. When I was at my skinniest, if you took a look at my labs, I was at my unhealthiest. And that's due to my unhealthy eating habits during that time and the relationship that I formed with my body. With that being said, obesity increases the risk of disease, and we do want to stay with a healthy body fat. So how do we know what's healthy for us? Taking regular labs, getting physical, practicing preventative actions, regular physical activity, balanced meals. So you can't just look at someone and say, yes, they're healthy, yes, they're unhealthy. Because again, like I said, when I was at my skinniest, my hair was falling out, my labs were all over the place, my hormones were everywhere. So what we can do is we can go and get those labs done. We can do our due diligence to make sure that we are healthy. There can be health at different sizes. Like I mentioned, obesity does increase the risk of disease like diabetes, metabolic disorder, hypertension, stroke, cardiac health. So it's important that you maintain and balance a health for yourself. And I cannot give what a healthy weight is because it looks different for everybody. Verse 6, you can replace eating fiber with supplements. Absolutely not. This is something that most people struggle with, including myself. And with these fiber supplements, they've become so popular. And I'm not saying to completely avoid them, because I do love a good inulin powder to kind of, boost my fiber throughout the day. But what I am saying is that you're not going to see the same benefits nutritionally or physically when using these supplements. You are going to be missing out on so many nutrients if you replace all of your vegetables and all of your starchy carbs that contain fiber and all of your fruits with just a powder or a pill. We need to be consuming a balanced diet. And in reality, when you look at all of these, that is what it comes down to, that you need to keep a balanced, healthy, and sustainable diet in order to reach health, whatever that means to you, optimal health. Number 7, everyone needs a probiotic. This is something that I believed for the longest time in my career, and I want to talk about it a little bit more. Probiotics are super popular, and for a good reason. Probiotics are great. They're wonderful. They help your gut maintain a healthy and diverse microbiome, organisms. But some individuals may not receive the same benefits as others, because some individuals are resistant to certain strains of probiotics, or maybe they've taken an antibiotic that has now destroyed all of the colonies in their gut, and now what are we left with? Or you're giving your body the wrong probiotics, and that can lead to bacterial overgrowth, which can cause bloating, gas, GI upset. So instead of just going straight to that section of the store and grabbing the most popular, the cheapest, or the most expensive probiotic you can find, I would really recommend looking into a stool study. And one that I know is super reliable and has helped a lot of my patients in the past is Gut Zoom. So this can show you exactly what is in your gut. It can show you how much of that colonization is in your gut. It can show you the different strains in your gut. And oftentimes when we look at probiotics, the strains on the back are lactobacillus and some other type of popular strain bacteria, beneficial bacteria. But what if those beneficial bacteria are feeding your bad gut bacteria in your gut and just kind of making it more counterproductive? So my recommendation to anyone who really wants to take their gut health into their own hands is look into a stool study, particularly Gut Zoom. There are different ones out there, and I can help you find one that is right for you. So feel free to reach out. But this is going to tell you exactly what you need and can help not only you, but your doctors or whoever you're working with put together a personalized probiotic protocol for you so that you're not kind of putting yourself into a deeper hole. And not to say that you're making yourself sick or anything like that, but being bloated, being gassy, or being constipated, or the opposite, always having to, it's very uncomfortable. So instead of just wasting your money buying all these probiotics, which may or may not help, look into investing in a stool study and find out exactly what is in your gut, because your gut is more than just allowing you to go to the bathroom. It's more than just you being able to fit in those pants comfortably. It's your second brain. Anxiety stems from there. Serotonin is made in the gut. So really, really look into what you're putting into your body and what can benefit you individually. Now moving on to number 8. High cholesterol foods are unhealthy. Believe it or not, dietary cholesterol has no effect on overall cholesterol. So foods like eggs, shrimp, yogurt, things that are high in cholesterol do not need to be completely avoided for those who may have high cholesterol. These are very nutrient-dense food, and actually cutting them out may leave you in worse state than you were before. So your overall cholesterol is going to be more affected by things like alcohol, fried foods, a sedentary lifestyle. So have the shrimp, eat the eggs, have the yogurt, but take a zoom out of what you're eating and look at how much fried food, processed foods, alcohol, the lack of an activity, what is going on in your life, and see if we can change those. Because if your cholesterol is high and your first kind of active defense is just pulling back all the high cholesterol foods, this isn't going to work for us. So dietary cholesterol has no effect on total cholesterol. Number 9, and this is one of my favorites. Carbs make you fat. How many times have you believed this? And I have even been a victim of this myself and believed this. Just like I mentioned about the fat fear mongering, the idea that carbs make you fat is an unproven, outdated idea. While consuming carbs in excess can definitely lead to insulin resistance and weight gain, this is not the cause as a whole. Carbs contain nutrients, vitamins, fiber, and most importantly, glucose. Carbs are glucose, and that is our brain and our muscles' main source of fuel. So if we are trying to gain muscle, which in turn is going to make our metabolic rate go up and help us burn fat, the last thing we want to do is cut out all carbs. You can definitely be more sensible about the carbs that you're eating, and you can be more sensible about the portions of carbs, but cutting out carbs completely is not going to be the answer to weight loss. And let me just rephrase myself if someone's jumping in the middle, or reiterate that there is no one size fits all for everyone. You are going to have to find what works for you and what is sustainable in your lifestyle and go with that. And the last one is near and dear to my heart and one of my absolute favorite statistics, but the myth is eating disorders only affect women. And although women are more likely to speak up and seek help with disordered eating or eating disorders, this does not mean that men are unaffected. 30% of men report to be dissatisfied with their body, and they also admit to resorting to unhealthy eating methods or exercise methods to reach this goal. And this is just the reported amount. So imagine if only 30% of men are willing to speak up about this, how many are sitting in silence? We have these women and we have this movement of body positivity, but eating disorders don't just affect women. They affect men as well. And that is why I left it for the end, because it is one myth that is definitely not true. So, let me see if we have any comments here. I can pop it up right here on our first episode. Let's see. I don't see any now. This will be saved here on our YouTube channel. If you have any questions, comments, or you'd like me to cover a certain topic, or you'd like to be a guest on our new series, please shoot me a message at ms@infinity, and I'll leave this below, .com. That is ms@infinitysI.com. And I would be more than happy to welcome you guys on the show or cover topics that you'd really want me to cover. So next week, we're going to be diving into fad diets. So again, just like nutrition myths, I want to cover fad diets and why they're so popular, and just kind of get the information out there as to why we don't have to stick to this like black and white, one size fits all method. And with that, I will help you guys create something that is sustainable for you. So again, thank you so much for joining me on the first episode of Health Unfiltered. I will be very excited to join you guys again next Monday for another episode. Thank you again, and I will see you guys next week.